Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lounging with Lo. It's me, Lo, your host for this wonderful podcast of part 3 for the Christmas movies. Cue the sad music. Yes, this is the last episode of the series. I know. I can't believe the outcome of these episodes after they aired. All the downloads, all of the views on my TikTok and my Facebook and Instagram, and also all the comments in there. So thank you guys very much, whoever commented. Alright guys, so I just wanted to remind you once more that on top of another new season of the Lounging with Lo, we're going to be doing a new podcast, The Lord's Word with Lo. We're going to be talking about the Bible, again, from Genesis to Revelation. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff we're going to talk about, so you don't want to miss out on this great opportunity to learn about God's Word. Once again, the information, I will make sure to let you guys know when it will be live, so you guys can jump up on the opportunity and take a listen. So, a brief recap. Part 1 of the podcast was from the 40s to the 80s. Part 2 was from the 90s all the way up to just the year 2000. Now, for part 3, we are finishing up the 2000s and we're going to end with 2018. So please remember, if you have never seen any of these movies, whether it was from the part 1, part 2, or even this one, there will be some spoilers. Alright, so we're going to start off with the year 2002 with the film Santa Claus 2. This is a sequel to the Santa Claus that was back in the 90s I talked about in my last podcast. So Tim Allen reprises his role as Scott Calvin. Eric Lloyd comes back as his son Charlie. And Elizabeth Mitchell comes in and joins the cast. She is Carol, who is the principal of Charlie's school. You probably recognize her from the Once Upon a Time ABC TV series. So Santa Claus 2 is about Scott Calvin overlooking one thing, one tiny little detail about being Santa. He must get married before Christmas. And if that wasn't enough smells in the cocoa, he's got to get Charlie back on the nice list again. Well, Lauren, how in the world did he get on the naughty list in the first place? Aha! That's something that you have to find out when you watch the movie. In IMDB, I was kind of looking at some of the research here. They wanted to make Carol, which is played by Elizabeth Mitchell, something similar to Jessica from the animated 1970 movie Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And they have two similarities. One, they both work in a school. Jessica was a school teacher and Carol is a principal, as I mentioned it before. And they both get a doll for Christmas that they always wanted when they were little girls. Alright, so when I say the year 2003, around Christmas time, what do you guys think of?
Santa's coming to town! Santa! Oh my God! Santa here? I know him!
That's right, the movie Elf. Yes, the infamous Will Ferrell playing Buddy, Zooey Deschanel as Jovi. She was also in New Girl from the Fox TV series. James Caan plays Walter, who is Buddy's father. He was in The Godfather as Santino. We have the wonderful Ed Asner. He played Santa in The Elf, but he's also known for being Lou Grant in The Mary Tyler Moore Show. And we also have Bob Newhart as Papa Elf. Bob Newhart was also best known for his own show in the 1970s, The Bob Newhart Show. So, Elf is about a human who is raised by elves, discovers New York to find his father there, and gets to know him along with many other adventures that he discovers on his journey. Now let me ask you guys this one question here. Did you catch the actor who plays Ming Ming, one of the elves in the North Pole? you take a good closer look at the actor, you'll see that it's none other than Peter Billingsley, the actor who played Ralphie in A Christmas Story. Don't you just love these little interesting tidbits that I love to share with all you listeners? Alright, so we're going to go another year later, 2004. The Polar Express was released. Stars Tom Hanks, Leslie Zemeckis, Eddie Deason, who is best known as Eugene from Grease, Nona Gay, and Peter Scolari. Now, I'm sure everyone is familiar with the Polar Express. I'm sure as growing up as children, you have probably heard the story when your parents read it to you or your grandparents read it to you, maybe around Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So they decided to take the book and make it into a movie. And it tells the tale of a boy and many other children who take a train ride to the North Pole to go see Santa and discover many adventures along the way to help the boy believe in Santa again.
Is on a very tight schedule. Now, young man, Christmas may not be important to some people, but it is very important to the rest of us.
Now, here's another interesting fact I found during my research, and again, in IMDB. It says that this movie has set a Guinness record for being the first all-digital film. And what that means is the actors were all digital and the setting was all digital. Everything was digital. I think that's a great achievement, I think. Congrats to the Polar Express. Okay, guys, so we're going to end the Santa Claus trilogy with the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. This was released in 2006. So again, Tim Allen and Eric Lloyd come back, and so does Elizabeth Mitchell. But we also have Anne Margaret, who is best known for Viva Las Vegas with the late Elvis Presley, and was also in Bye Bye Birdie with Dick Van Dyke. And then we also have the beloved Martin Short. Martin Short plays Jack Frost. Now, this movie is all about Jack Frost wanting to be Santa. And he devises a plan to sabotage the workshop so that nothing can get done before Christmas, and also devises a plan to have Scott Calvin, who is played by Tim Allen, to wish he'd never become Santa. And, if that wasn't enough drama in your life, the in-laws decide to come visit Scott and Carol, and tend to Carol because she is pregnant. I don't know if you guys paid attention, if you guys have watched all three, but you kind of recognize these 5 names. Tim Allen, Peter Boyle, who probably everybody knows as Frank Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond, Eric Lloyd, who plays Charlie, Judge Reinhold, who plays Neil in the Santa Claus trilogy, and Wendy Crewson. She also plays Charlie's mother. These 5 actors and actress have played in every single Santa Claus movie. So you're probably wondering, well, where did Peter Boyle come into play here? Well, in the first one, he played Tim Allen's boss. But in the second and the third one, he plays Father Time. Okay, guys, before I move on to the next movie inside the 2000s and to finish it up, I just want to remind everybody that I am on social media. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook if you want to come follow me. My podcast link to the major streaming services is also on my Facebook page if you want to just come on and listen or share it with your friends and family. Now, let's come back to the podcast episode here. So, in part 2, we talked a lot about the adaptations of A Christmas Carol, mainly 2, which was Sir Michael Caine and Sir Patrick Stewart. We kind of briefly talked in the similarities of Scrooge with George C. Scott and Albert Finney, very briefly, when we were comparing the Scrooge character. But one of my personal favorite adaptations of this classic tale was debuted in 2009 with the wonderful and talented Jim Carrey playing the mean old miser Ebenezer Scrooge.
Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Humbug.
Christmas humbug? Uncle, you don't mean that.
Merry Christmas. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough.
What right have you to be so dismal? You're rich enough.
Humbug!
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not a penny richer. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle!
Nephew! Keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
We also have Colin Firth playing Scrooge's nephew, Fred. Colin Firth is best known for Mamma Mia, Love Actually, and What a Girl Wants, and also being part of the TV series Pride and Prejudice. He played Mr. Darcy. We also, in the film, have Robin Wright. She played Scrooge's girlfriend from his past. Robin Wright is best known as Jenny from Forrest Gump, and also Princess Buttercup from The Princess Bride. Also in The Christmas Carol was Cary Elwes. If I'm saying his last name correctly, I do apologize if you're listening, Cary. Cary has played with Jim Carrey alongside of Jim Carrey, I should say, in Liar Liar, and also played in the movie Princess Bride with Robin Wright. He played Westley. And then we also have Gary Oldman, who plays Bob Cratchit in The Christmas Carol. Gary Oldman is best known for being Commissioner Gordon from the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan. Jim Carrey not only played Scrooge, but he played multiple characters in this adaptation of the classic tale. So he played Scrooge from a young boy to the young man of his past, and he played all three Christmas spirits: the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and also the ghost of Christmas yet to come. You're probably wondering, well, how in the world did he play that ghost? Well, I'm sure he just, he was doing the motions alongside of being the Scrooge character and things like that. We also have the wonderful Bob Hoskins, who played Fezziwig as well. He's not in my notes, but I want to give him an honorable mention as well. And did you also know that this is not the only this is the second movie that Jim Carrey has played a villain? Can you guys guess who the other villain he played for a Christmas movie? You guessed it, my friends. It was the mean old Grinch from 2000, Dr. Seuss's How a Grinch Stole Christmas. Okay, so we're gonna take a big giant step for mankind from 2009 all the way to 2017, with two movies: The Star and The Man Who Invented Christmas. Now let's talk about The Man Who Invented Christmas for a second here. Now, I just recently discovered this movie on Prime Video. Just happened to look for movies, and you know what? This kind of looks very interesting, so I'm going to go ahead and watch it just to see. And as soon as I watched it, I loved the storyline. I fell in love with it. Dan Stevens. He plays Charles Dickens. I'm sure you guys have heard that name before. Dan Stevens plays Matthew from Downton Abbey. We have the late Christopher Plummer. He played the Ebenezer Scrooge character in this film. Christopher Plummer is also best known for being Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music. You've probably heard this name already from the podcast series. Ian McNeice. He plays one of the publishers of in the film for Charles Dickens. And he is also best known for being Bert Large from the Doc Martin BBC TV series. And there are many other actors and actresses I'm sure you've probably recognized if you've seen them. So, The Man Who Invented Christmas talks about how A Christmas Carol came to be. So basically this is the backstory. And you kind of get a little bit more history on who Charles Dickens is. little known fact that A Christmas Carol was published on December 19th, 1843. It only took Charles Dickens 6 weeks to get it published and get everything illustrated, written, and published before Christmas Eve. And by Jove, he got it done. And every copy was sold by Christmas Eve. And around that time, the charity giving soared overnight because of the book. Not only was the book a bestseller, this book, however, helped us remind ourselves why we celebrate Christmas. It is to find the joy in friendship, kindness, and generosity. Now, let's talk about The Star. The Star is an animated children's movie. I recently discovered watching this movie with a friend of mine, Sabrina, and her 2 boys. They watch it every Christmas. It's about a small donkey that escapes a mill and embarks on a journey that would change his life forever and become what we call as Christians the greatest story ever told, which is Jesus' birth. Now, I asked Sabrina about this movie, and here's her take on it.
I first watched this last year with my 2 boys, Eli and Isaiah. I truly fell in love with the meaning behind the story. You have this donkey, his name is Bo, who wants to do great things and to be in the royal caravan and to walk with royalty. He thinks that's his life mission. When Mary had the baby and Bo realized that he was the king of all kings, he knew that his life and his goal was complete. And what he was supposed to do was to be with Mary and Joseph. He had an opportunity to join the royal caravan, and he decided that he needed to stay put. It makes me think about us as humans and what we think is important in life and the things that we chase. That God has a bigger plan and a bigger picture. If we just follow the star, He'll show us the way.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Sabrina. I do appreciate your input on this wonderful movie. And if you guys ever are interested in watching it, it's on Prime. You just have to pay for it, or rent it. But I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. Your children will love it, and I think it's a great tradition to start, just as Sabrina and the boys have done themselves. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up with 2018, and yes, we're gonna talk about the Grinch. Well, Lauren, you talked about the Grinch in your part 1 and part 2. Well, yeah, you gotta end it with the Grinch, right? So, what do you think of the name? What do you think? What's the first thing you think of when I say this actor's name? Benedict Cumberbatch. Okay, well that's a lot of films. So we have him in The Imitation Game. We also had him playing Sherlock from the BBC TV series Sherlock, and of course everyone in the Marvel era knows him as Doctor Strange. Yes, he voices the old miser, the Grinch.
I know just what to do. I'm going to steal their Christmas.
We also have Rashida Jones. She plays Cindy Lou Who's mother. Rashida Jones is the daughter of Quincy Jones, for those of you who are not aware of that fact. But she's also best known for being in The Office and Parks and Recreation from NBC. We also have Kenan Thompson and the late Angela Lansbury that star in this movie as well. So, this movie has a little bit of a small twist to the classic tale. So not only does the Grinch try to steal Christmas, we have a little bit more of another backstory version of how he hated Christmas. But Cindy Lou Who wanted to ask Santa a question. So she and her friends devise a plan that on Christmas Eve, when Santa comes down with his presents, they devise a trap so she can be able to talk to him. Now, a friend of mine, her name is Kylie, she watches this movie with her son all year round. And she was telling me that the 2018 Grinch is a lot more nicer to the dog Max than Jim Carrey's character or even Boris Karloff. So I decided to kind of watch all three of them and I kind of see she was right. If you guys are interested, all three of them are on Peacock right now. If you have the streaming service for that, I would advise watching it before the month is out. Well, my faithful listeners, we have reached the end. No, not the end of the Lounging with Lo, the end of the Christmas series podcast. My goodness. It has been a pleasure being with you in the year 2023. I will be back in January 2024, but we'll talk about another movie series, or maybe another TV show. Who knows what will come next? But until then, let us lounge together, and I want to wish you all a very, very happy new year. Until next time, my fellow listeners.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.